Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to share with you 3 returns that I just recently got back in the mail. So this first one is a thicker one, and it's postmarked from Wisconsin. And the reason that it's thicker is I took a stab at it in the off season. I thought I might try, but it is a return from former Pittsburgh Pirate / Chicago Cub, Gary Varsho, on 3 of 3. And as you know, normally I send usually 4, so that way if a player wants to keep one, whatever, no big deal. But I thought, what the heck, let's see what happens. And I decided to send 3 of his son, Dalton Varsho, as well. And I'll talk a little bit about him in a minute, but unfortunately, Dalton didn't sign him, which tells me he probably wasn't home, at least the time that I sent this mail to Gary. So, enough about Dalton. We'll talk about Gary Varsho and his career in baseball. Gary Varsho grew up in Wisconsin, and he attended high school at Marshfield, Wisconsin High School. After his high school career, he attended the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. The Chicago Cubs selected Varsho in 1982 out of the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. Well, after being drafted by the Cubs, Varsho in 1982 will go to the Cubs single-A affiliate. It wouldn't be until 1988 that the Cubs would give Varsho his shot at the major leagues. Varsho moved up every level of the Cubs organization and played multiple seasons at both A, AA, and AAA affiliates for the Cubs. Well, after the 1988 season, he had a good showing, batting .278 for the Cubs, and they gave him a chance in the majors, where he appeared in 46 games and batted .274 as kind of a utility fill-in-the-blank type of guy. Kind of played, a little bit of everywhere, pinch hitter, outfielder. Even this card, it looks like he's playing the infield. It looks like on that Pirates card there. So, after Varsho kind of got used to the drive between Chicago and AAA, he would do the same thing in 1989 and also the same thing in 1990, being called up and down between AAA and the majors. So going into the 1991 season, Varsho was expecting again to play with the Cubs, but instead, right before the season started, they traded him to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Well, at 30 years old, Varsho made the transition to the Pirates and appeared in 99 games and spent the entire year with the Pirates that year. Well, as you know, the 91 Pirates were a very successful team, with their run against the Atlanta Braves in the playoffs. Also in the following year, in 1992, he was a member of the Pirates as well, where he appeared in 103 games for the Pirates that year, filling in here and there again. Well, after the 92 season, we know a big free agent left the Pirates to go to the Giants and Barry Bonds, but Gary Varsho was also granted his free agency. So, Varsho signed with the Cincinnati Reds for the 1993 season. And again, he played part-time, off the bench, pinch hitter, fill-in-the-blank type of guy, appearing in 77 games, batting, respectable batting average. But despite that, the Reds decided to let him go. Well, Varsho, showing some loyalty, decided to go back to the Pirates. He went to the Pirates and he spent, again, the majority of the season in 1994 up with the club, but the strike-shortened season, of course, ended that, where he also spent some time in AAA. Well, despite the strike, in 1995, he did get another shot to play with the Philadelphia Phillies. And in his final year at 34 years old, he did bat at a respectable .252, appearing in 72 games for the Phillies that season. Well, after his time with the Phillies, he actually got into the coaching realm, and he actually became a coach at the major league level with the Phillies, and he actually managed 2 games for the Phillies after Larry Bowa was fired towards the end of the season one year. So after that, I don't really know how long Varsho stayed in coaching, but obviously he went on to, probably train his son, I would guess, probably in baseball. So that's probably where the bulk of the 2000s went with Varsho. I'm not really sure if he's still involved with baseball. I think I have read somewhere that he's, doing some scouting or special assistant stuff. So that's why I wanted to send to him in the off season, because I thought if I sent during the season, I probably wouldn't see him. So if you're watching this, it's still the off season, and you want to try to get Gary Varsho, I'd recommend doing it before the season starts or spring training starts, because he's probably going to be pretty busy once the ball game starts, in the next year for baseball. So we'll move on to the next one. All right, this next one's postmarked from Arizona, and it is a very similar type of player as Gary Varsho. And not in the fact that he's an outfielder, but he's kind of the plug-in-the-gap type of player. And who am I talking about other than Craig Paquette with the A's? There's one with the Cardinals, which I definitely remember. Here's a second one with the Oakland A's. And here is a third of him with the Kansas City Royals. And it looks like he's signing some autographs. It's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like somebody's handing him something or something. You never know. Could be a cell phone before cell phones. Who knows? Anyways, let me tell you about Craig Paquette. So Paquette, a California native, played his high school ball in California, but he also was drafted by the Minnesota Twins originally in 1987. He chose instead to go back to school and go to college at Golden West College in Huntington Beach, California, and that is when the Oakland A's selected him in the 8th round of the '89 draft. After being drafted in 1989, Paquette was assigned to the A's single-A affiliate, where he appeared in 71 games his first year, batting a whopping .336 with 14 home runs. Well, in 1990, he was promoted to High A, where he appeared in 130 games, and he hit 15 home runs, but the batting average dropped to .238. Well, in 1991, he got promoted to Double A and appeared in 102 games, and progressed in 1992 to Triple A, where he appeared in 132 games between Triple A and Double A for the team, hitting 19 home runs. Well, in 93, he started the year in Triple A. However, on June 1st, 1993, Paquette got his chance at his first major league game, and he stuck in the majors for the remainder of the season primarily, and appeared in 105 games for Tony La Russa's Oakland A's, hitting 12 home runs his rookie season. Well, in 1994, the strike-shortened year, he spent the majority of the season in AAA, but did get to appear in 14 games for the A's before the season ended. In 1995, he was a primary player on the A's, where he appeared in 105 games for them, and he again hit 13 home runs. Well, I'm going to take a stab at this. After the departure of Tony La Russa, the A's decided to part ways with Paquette, and he was released right before the 1996 season began. Well, the Kansas City Royals gave him a call, and they said, "Hey, Craig, come play in our AAA affiliate." Well, that didn't last long, because Craig was only there for 18 games before the Royals called him up in 1996, and he responded very well, hitting a career-high 22 home runs for the Royals, batting a respectable .259. The following year, however, with the Royals, he would only appear in 77 games at the majors, but would spend 23 games in AAA for the Royals, and they would then let him go after the 97 season. From there, he would sign with the New York Mets, and primarily from 1998 and 1999, he would be in AAA for the Mets. Well, in 1999, the Cardinals decided to get Paquette, and he was reunited with Tony La Russa in St. Louis, and he spent the next 3 seasons playing under Tony La Russa. Well, in the year 2000, which is that card right there, that's a 2000 tops, he responded playing for La Russa, hitting 15 home runs in 2000. He hit 10 the previous year. And in 2001, he batted .282, also hitting 15 home runs and appearing in 123 games for the Cardinals. After the 2001 season, he was then granted free agency, and he signed with the Detroit Tigers. He would spend a couple more seasons with the Tigers, and after 2003 began, he was let go very early in the season, and that was the last time Paquette played in the major leagues. Well, after a little time off, he did resurface, I believe, in the independent leagues, playing for one of the teams in the indie ball. But after that, he pretty much walked away from baseball and retired. I'm not too sure what he does nowadays. One of the things that I realized after I sent this request out was I didn't send the quad card with him and the other three players on it. And I just, when I was going through my cards, I'm like, why didn't I send that to Craig Paquette? So I actually am planning on sending that to another person on the card, and we'll start over. And maybe after I get the other three guys on there, I'll send it to Paquette, and hopefully have him completed. So very happy to add Paquette to the collection. This is the first time I've ever gotten him, so we'll move on to the next one. All right, this next one is postmarked from Rhode Island. And unfortunately, they weren't all returned, which is fine. I always, like I said, earlier, I typically send 4. But luckily, he returned the one I really wanted signed. And who am I talking about other than Gary Disarcina? And Gary Disarcina signed one of my 92 Donruss the Rookies cards. He also signed a 1991 score. And again, like I said, I cannot remember the other 2 cards I sent him. Obviously, they weren't that important to me. I certainly hope they weren't team set cards. I don't think they were, because I have Gary's autograph on a team set or elsewhere, so I know it wasn't that. So I think he kept a couple of common cards, which is perfectly fine. So let me tell you about Gary Disarcina and his career in baseball. So Disarcina, a Massachusetts native, attended University of Massachusetts Amherst, and he was drafted by the California Angels in the 6th round of the 1988 amateur draft out of college. He didn't spend long in the minors, as he had just spent 1 year in single A for the Angels, and in the following year, in 1989, after an excellent tenure in double A, he was called up to the majors at the end of the season in 1989, where he appeared in 2 games. Well, in 1990, he would return to Triple A, where he would spend the bulk of the career bulk of the season, appearing in 97 games, but did get a call-up for 18 games with the Angels in 1990. 1991 would be pretty much the same. He would spend the majority of the season appearing in 119 games in AAA, but did get to appear in 18 games that year with the big club. Well, going into 1992, the shortstop position was basically his. And he was given the opportunity to start 157 games for the Angels that year and batted .247 and played some solid defense. Well, from thereafter, Disarcina would be the starting shortstop basically for the Angels basically for the end of the 90s. At 31 years old, he had some injury issues in 1999, which limited him to just 81 games. But he played through the 2000 season with the club, where he, just appeared in 12 games. And in 2001, he was completely out the entire 2001 season. And despite that, in 2002, he signed a minor league contract with his hometown Boston Red Sox, and he appeared in 35 games with the Red Sox before he decided to hang it up as a player. But in total, Disarcina played 12 years in the major leagues, parts of 12 seasons in the major leagues. He had a solid .258 career batting average, and his fielding was very superb. He wasn't much of a home run hitter. I mean, he only hit 28 home runs his entire career, but he was a very, very good player for a long time for the Angels back in the 90s. Like I said, basically from 1992 to 1998, he was the guy in Anaheim for the Angels. So after his playing career, he pretty much immediately got into coaching. He coached for a couple different affiliates, including the Boston Red Sox minor league affiliates. He also worked as a bench coach, for the Red Sox. I also want to say he was one of the base coaches for the Red Sox. After his tenure with the Red Sox, he went on to the New York Mets. Again, very happy to get that 92 Donruss the Rookies for my set done. I'm very happy to add his autograph to my collection. Also very happy to get Gary Varsho, Dalton's dad, in the collection as well. And I'm also very happy to get Craig Paquette in the collection and a multitude of different cards there. Got one with the A's, the Cardinals, and the Royals. All of these guys I do remember. playing during their playing career, so that kind of dates me. And I want to thank you for another episode of Through the Mail Thursdays. I look forward to your comments below.